My name is Boshevski. I'm sorry, I name again. I'm the director of lectures at the Canadian Macedonian Historical Society, and it is really my pleasure to do this type of a lecture, which is again the first of its kind, and it is over Skype, over internet, and we have made all the arrangements required to make sure that everything is clear. And you will be pleased when it's all over. Now, back to the subject of this lecture today. The Rosetta Stone was found in 1799 by a French officer back in Egypt. It bears its name because of the location where it was found. That was Rosetta. And the very key, the most important thing about the Rosetta Stone is that for the first time we see inscription in stone which has 3 types of letters, or 3 alphabets, if you will, and as we found out later, 3 languages. The top being the Egyptian, the middle being the so-called Demotic, which is in question, and the bottom being ancient Greek. Now, what has happened, just briefly, is in the early 1800s, this was looked at by a French scientist, if you will, or linguist, and his name is Champignon, and he worked, put a considerable time on this. Later on, there was a British fellow, or English, by the name of Thomas Young, and he also postulated his theories. So, at about this time, there was many other theories as to what the middle text really is. Now, the bottom line is that the translations of the middle text, which is still now, according to current scholarship, considered demotic, have not been fully translated or fully really understood. Now, in the year of 2005, the Macedonian Academy, we have two professors from Macedonia, one being academic, and that is Tome and Boshevski, who has actually come together with the other professor, and that is Aristotel Tentov, and they have worked since that time on the middle text, in attempt to translate it, basically, to give it meaning. And it appears that the middle text is of a Slavic character, and for a lot of people, even people here today, it would be very unusual. What is the Slavic language doing, in Egypt at the time of Ptolemy? And we're talking basically back approximately 200 years BC. Now, for some of you who do not know, there has been an enormous number of artifacts unearthed in Europe, in particular Southern Europe, that indicate a language, indicate a culture which is clearly not Latin or Greek. It is a different culture, it's a different language, the inscriptions are different, they've been found throughout the Balkans, and this information is surfacing all the time. Now, once we know that, then we will have a different view. How can this be a form of a Slavic or an ancient Slavic language? Further to that, of course, there's the language of northern Italy, which is the Etruscan language, which to this date has been considered as an unknown language. However, with attempts from people who know Slavic languages, they've come to understand most of the Etruscans, most of their inscriptions, and it appears that Etruscan has a big part of it belongs actually to the Slavic realm. So this gives you a little bit of a background how Tentov accompanying here with Boshevski and giving us this lecture. As I said, they've done at least 6, maybe 7 years now of study, of investigation, and this is their findings. They're presenting them for the first time here in Canada. They've done this in many other places, including Slovenia, as well as in Russia, in St. Petersburg and Moscow. Now, I don't want to carry on anymore. I think this is pretty much it. I will now introduce to you via Skype. This is Aristotle Tentov. You see him over there in the corner.
Is that him?
He looks a little bit anxious to start to talk by the looks of things. I don't see Tome Boshevski. He must be down there somewhere, or is he there?
Academic.
Is he being cut off? We tried this before.
Boshevski, I apologize, he is not very good with
His health?
Academic Boshevski, I apologize, himself, he is not very good with his health. Nothing serious, but he was unable to participate here, and he's sent his sincere regards.
Okay, Vince, maybe we can start now. I've done the introduction. I don't know what exactly Aristotle is going to start saying. He might repeat something that I already said. So if he does, that's fine, I think. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Dear ladies and gentlemen, it is nice to be with you this afternoon in Canada. Here in Skopje, we have a beautiful evening with very nice weather. Thank you for the invitation and the chance to share with you the results of our research. It is started with decipherment of ancient Macedonian script and the middle text of the Rosetta Tome. But now we have the result that we, let's say, does not assume at all. We have, let's say, come to the roots of the ancient Macedonian language. We deciphered completely ancient Macedonian script, and we are now able to read all the documents for the Ptolemaic period in Egypt, written in so-called demotic script in this language, and we are able to read sign by sign, which is, let's say, more advanced than a degree of knowledge or let's say, or level of the actual modern scholars. And I will now present our work, not in many details regarding the time, but I'm hoping that it will be enough for the time being. Let me go to the content of this presentation. Thanks, Odysseus, for a thorough introduction. So I will cut a little bit my introduction on the Rosetta Tome, its significance, etc. And I will, after that, start with the basic characteristics of the script. Then we will speak about identifying signs. After that, we'll come to the algorithm for giving a sound value of the signs or providing for sound. I will present our transliteration and Macedonian translation of complete text, middle text of the Rosetta Tome. And we will discuss a little bit our readings, results of our reading, and archaeological evidences. Then I will present you grammatical rules. After that, ancient Macedonian gods, and the name of the gods of other nations in that period which lives in ancient Egypt. And one subtle characteristic of the text that is a different Yes, well, we will present the results of implementation of our methodology on the Winter script. As well, our ability now to read different artifacts from the period Ptolemaic dynasty. This is before the Rosetta stone is the granite slab with the dimensions 140 centimeters high, 70 centimeters width, and 29 centimeters thickness, with the weight of approximately 700 kilos. It is found in Greece in 1789 on the Napoleon soldiers, and it's become very popular in very produce very big interest in scholar science. It is then in the front of the slide you can see good text scripts, and the scholars view the chance by analyzing this text so that you can actually be able to read hieroglyphics and make them up. And they actually succeed. But we were not satisfied with the analysis, the result of the second text, especially. We were not, it was very logical for us that the top text and the middle text was written in using ancient Egyptian language, which is a very confusing assumption for us, because when somebody writes a text, it's one script, not two scripts, the same language. Besides that, Ptolemaic dynasty was from Macedonian origin, and it was logical that a ruling dynasty, or rulers from that dynasty, would use their own ancient Macedonian language. And is middle text, but because we were from, let's say, engineering area, we start to work on this. We start to work in, let's say, in this process, and using so-called inverse engineering approach. What does it mean? As we can see, we here have the result of the process. That is the text. Middle text of the Rosetta stone, and in engineering areas, we have this inverse engineering approach, in inverse engineering solution of the problem. It means how to find how somebody came to the result, and we start with on code that we will be able at the end to read this text side by side, which is not a case to a modern scientific community where they are able to read only when we are talking about multiple a Ptolemaic period. They are able to read only word by word, which was not very satisfying for us. Like definitions, when somebody, and it is normal for all people, when we see the text, we expect to be able to read it side by side. So we have to start with the basic characteristic of the script, see on the first slide, there are no punctuation signs like in nowadays usual way of writing. There is no spaces to word. We have only continuous stream of signs. Hieroglyphic and demographic texts are written and read from right to left. And the bottom text in ancient Greek script or alphabet, or usually known as ancient alphabet or ancient script, we have read from left to right. This script on the below text of the Rosetta stone is a syllabic one, which means that each sign gives two sound words. The first one is consonant, and the second one is vowel. So when we have a script which is syllabic, for every sign produces two sounds, we must put with the problem how to write isolate consonant and how to write isolate vowels. And one additional characteristic for this text is, as we can see, that the usual way of writing the signs one after another. We have that case or cases when signs are written one above or the other or the other. So in this sense, when the signs are written one above the other, they form ligature. We start the process of decipherment by identifying signs. We were able to identify three groups of signs. So, symmetric signs. Each of these signs has weight disposition on the writing surface. After that, we have symmetrical signs with only four positions in writing surface, as well as inclined signs, which also have only four positions in writing surface, and one special sign, which is combined of two signs. The signs will identify, let's say, you see the comment with isolated consonants, we identify a few of them, as well as identify the signs for writing pixelated words. And here we are presenting at the bottom of the slide few characteristic ligature of many that exist in the text, as well as we were able to identify 3 to 4 pictographic signs. We will speak about later. And there's an engineer who's able to, let's say, treat the signs or some values like unknowns in some equations in order to easier for process of these unknowns. We start with some known values, which are shown in the left table. We have 10 signs, which have the same pattern as the same sound as the various signs in Cyrillic alphabet. As well these two signs that are characteristic and used more in Latin alphabet. It is 6. And sign number 8, 9. And the sign number 8 is used in Ukrainian Cyrillic alphabet, nowadays modern Cyrillic alphabet. And in order to be able to further easier our process of deciphering, we made one additional assumption in a table which is presented on the right side of the slide. We present pairs of signs which has similar forms. The idea is, if we know one set of signs, then the other side of this pair must have some value which improve this sign, but from part of the sign. And we have 10 different pairs, which will be easy in our process of solving this problem. And here we only briefly announce how we manage to solve this problem. I mean, it is a big problem. We have signs. Now we have to give some values to these signs in order to people to live. We start from left and we go row and row from left to right and go from the corner of the table. The first combination of signs consists of two signs in this form, and we build some value of V. And we are reading this combination of two signs like F. After that, go to, let's say, right of the table. In the next cell, we have now a combination of three signs. And we have put this book some value for V, some value for A. And only left with only this value. And because we know that this is value of Z, we give this rotation of Z, combination of or G on English in the Anglo-Saxon language, or I. With this square brackets, in English it is usual way to present how some sign will be given its some value among the linguists. After that, we are getting to another combination of four signs now. We have solved the problem with I, Y, V, and we have only with D. And so, from right and left to right, from each row, we have only one unknown sign with some value. And we are solving in this sense. And of course, we have to came with the definition word for every syllable. And the number of syllables is approximately 164. So we have 164 and even more, so around 200 definition words for solving the sound value of all the signs. the signs, the rotation, and adequate sound value for each sign and each morphic rotation within a table. And within one word, for asymmetrical signs, there are 8 rotations, and for symmetrical and inclined signs, there are 4 to 5 rotations. So now we are able to start reading the text. Now we must solve one additional steps. So and for different models, and as well as for topographic signs for ligature. In Macedonian language, when we have, let's say, such combinations of signs, like in the first case, because this is number one is simple form R, and the other sign is a combination of for sure with R, and they're saying that because R is sure, not sure, we read that not sure is based on so, they're solving in this way, problem of giving some value for measures. In that sense that every single sign have the same value as it is alone, and with not or proposition on, we are solving when one two signs are not abstract. Like for example, we have 1, 2, 3 levels of signs, 1 on, and we must use 2 positions. Now, there is na here, there, E on the spot, which E or 1I is over Z. So my Z, that is sound battery. So it's not much difficult part of research. It is, let's say, a left. Thus we finish the previous steps correctly, and we at the end calculate, let's say, our satisfaction to the result. What I mean by correct result? At the end, when we are comparing the text of the middle of the stone, we obtain a result which is similar with mountains, with ancient text, but with different structure from sentences, different and different way of communication. Later, I will explain what I mean by a different way of communication, and it is expected logically, because if we are right, the middle text is the text written in ancient Macedonian language. It is the language of the rulers, and when the actual pharaoh right is he wants to communicate with the rural nation. On the other side, when the pharaoh communicates through hieroglyphs or through ancient Greek text, the ruler nation. So he must communicate, or it is expected to communicate in other way. What he can say, or she can say to the rural nation is one thing, and to the rural nation is maybe some other, even more or much different thing. I will brief go to slides 1, slide 32, because we have here 32 lines of text in middle text. And now we are able to present the text like it is usual in nowadays. Text spaces between words, with the beginning of sentence and with the end of text, using punctuation signs commonly used in our text. And we have another version of this text, which is much more rich and much more detailed than ancient text. I will not speak about hieroglyphic text, because hieroglyphic text is deciphered by Champollion under assumption that the text written is identical with ancient Greek text, which by our knowledge doesn't have any sense. Because ancient Egyptian language is presented in written materials 2,000 years before the start of ancient Greek language. And it's not very logical that a nation capable of 3,000 years before our nation will use structure of sentences and the order of words like nations. It's not very logical. We are engineers, we use words, but we are not linguistics. Where at some point there's no logic. I want to show you, let's say, the name of, or ancient Macedonian version of the name of Alexander. This is in 3 until 10. This is the word Alexander. It is like Boshevski or just divine. In Macedonia now we have personal names Boshevski, which means the same. So the name Boshevski in Macedonian, contemporary Macedonian language, is adequate for the name of Alexander. And here we have after the name of Alexander 3 epithets who were given to him after his conquest of the West Area. Epithets and titles. Okay, so we will go at row 10, where the name of Alexandria is mentioned, or the town which was built by Alexander. We have one moment, please. Here is the name of Alexander. And the name of Alexander Alexandria is, let's say, stone building or buildings on stone of Alexander. Here, Alexander doesn't have a title knight or the most. He has only his personal name, divine. Or seated in this superlative name, which they use when they want the example, when like Tsar or Pharaoh. Later we will discuss in much more details the only two places where our reading are different from ancient Greek text. And these differences are occurring in let's see, and they prove that the Middle East is the text for the ruling nation. It is about 23, I think. Okay, row 22, row 22 and row 20. We will discuss much more in later, but I want to briefly mention that in these two rows, the pharaoh is how the environment around the Rosetta stone should be structured or arranged. It is not only a stone, but there is arrangement or scene around a stone. This is one text, and the other place where we are different from ancient Greek text is in the last row, where the pharaoh is in which temples. The pieces or copies of Rosetta stone should be installed. Despite contemporary science, we found that the pharaoh decrees that the stone should be installed or placed in three temples with for different gods, not like in ancient Greeks, the temple of rank 1, temple of rank 2, or temple of rank 3. We have in the temples of which god it should be, and in which territory particularly, which on the other side is correct with the archaeological evidence. We will discuss this data. After we find again the ancient Macedonian language at let's say our section is let's say logically and with some values of some words and their meanings close to contemporary Macedonian language. There is still English. And this is, let's say, a point where sure that if we discover that the ancient Macedonian language is similar with any other language besides the Macedonian language, there will be no criticism. I'm sure of that. But, fortunately for us, that is the situation and the conclusion that after our research, I would like to mention, we start our research with no assumption of a used language or any similarity with any other language. We came to this conclusion that the ancient Macedonian language is similar roots with the contemporary Macedonian language after the root complete the middle text of the Rosetta. And now we are in a situation where we can read sign by sign, which is very natural, and each sign, this is our name, can be read in a unique and one only. There is no possibility in our mythology that the one sign could be read in 2 or 3 or 4 ways, like in Egyptology or hieroglyphic signs, or that, let's say, 2 sound patterns could be covered with the 1, 2, 3 signs. No. The function among sign and its sound values is the unique. That is our thing. Okay? That is the number. Okay? In this slide and the next slide, we will give you a few examples of similarities between ancient Macedonian language and contemporary Macedonian language. This is for, I think, stand for fluctuative of adjectives. Writing the power of nouns and not defining form of noun, which is presented in a slide currently in use. Можем паузу да направим. This is the break.
I just want to ask if everybody can actually hear it clearly, because I think there's a bit of distortion.
Nobody can hear anything.
Can you hear okay? Aristotle, we have a bit of distortion here. You know, if you move a little bit, if you don't move as much, maybe there would be not distortion. Your voice is distorted, and at times we lose it. It's like broken up. If you want to maybe sit down like you had it before, it was perfect. when we had it right at the laptop. Can you hear me? Aristotle, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you?
Okay, we have a problem with the reception of the sound.
Okay.
Is it a hardwire mic that you got, or is it a remote?
I think I have a flexibility microphone and I'm using my neck a little bit more than I should use.
Okay, what did you want to sit down? Okay, we're gonna have a 5-minute or 8-minute or 10-minute break, and then we're gonna recheck the sound. Okay? So we'll see you in about 10 minutes, 5 minutes.
I'd like to ask everyone, you can take a 5-10 minute break right now. We have some Macedonian tea in the back, some munchies. Take a little washroom break and come back within the next 10 minutes. Thank you.
I know the sound is not the best. We've tried to correct it, whether it's the Skype transmission. The Skype transmission seems to be okay. However, it's something to do with the mic and the sound. Just to confirm something, the reading that is in let's say Macedonian, ancient Macedonian, is from the right to the left. So it's reverse to what we normally read. So I asked him to read some of the words so that he can hear them. It is difficult to read from the right to the left. We went to school and we know it's left to the right. And he has also used a smaller letter and a large letter than a small letter. And that makes a little bit broken up. So what he said originally, this is ancient Macedonian text. He has actually translated the whole thing, and at the end we may ask him to. Ale jaz nekaj da učam, to samo to uči.
Podaleku me dušu. Ti kažem podaleku.
Me te gleda tu, da.
Se gleda, tako da se
I will start from the opposite side with the conclusions. For the first time, by our knowledge, in analyzing some syllabic text, we propose that assigned values for vowels besides assigned values for consonant be considered. We was able to identify 28 consonants, and 8 vowels, which is still characteristic of some dialects spoken in Macedonia, in some region of Macedonia. Our readings are in perfect justification with archaeological evidence. And we are confirming the claim of English physicist who, before Champollion, analyzed this text, and he said it was young, and he claims that the middle text is the main text, and hieroglyphic text and ancient Greek text are only translations of this main text with much fewer details in this translation. We was able to read also complete demotic text of two pieces, non-pieces, discovered pieces of Tentov stone, and our result was very important. This result was very important for us because we want to test our methodology on different texts from this period. And for our satisfaction, we came to the conclusion that our methodology worked also for these two texts and for other ones. So I will go now from bottom up. Before conclusion, we have one piece of evidence, tablet, depicting a bow and a demotic inscription, which is now in Alexandria Bibliothèque in Antiquities Museum. Biblioteca Alexandrina is the original name. Okay, in the library of Alexandria, and current scholars couldn't precisely date this tablet, and the datation is around 700 years period, in so-called Greco-Roman period. 332 years before Christ, and in between 395 years after Christ. We read very easily the text in the tablet, and we could confirm the exact period. For the time being, we are saying only that we are pretty sure that it is from a Ptolemaic period. This slide is only an illustration of our ability to easily read such text, and in this sense to help modern science, which is evidently not able to read adequately such text. Our criticizers always ask why there is no coins from the period of Alexander and Ptolemaic dynasty, which will be with this letter. Here we found several such coins, dozens exactly, and only present only one, which is originally and only written with the demotic, so-called demotic script. We know what this text means. It is from Egypt, discovered in today's Macedonia, and it is in honor of Alexander the Great, or Alexander of Macedonia. Here is two very important results from our test of methodology, or testing the methodology on the Vinci script, which is old, let's say, 5,200 year BC, before Christ. And here we show that we are able to very easily and clearly read these texts and obtain a logical meaning, which was not the case up until now in this part of science. In Macedonia, we have one older script in cover level, but I left, let's say, one slide for another time, just to provoke your interest. Here is an artifact found in Macedonia, two artifacts actually. One is in a near of Kokino area, above source of water. It was written Vo Jepogo Vo. The water belongs to God waters. Vo je narodo, a je napi. Your people should drink it, or drink from it. And the other is from, let's say, stone necklace, which contains 12 little stones. Our archaeologist was able to discover only 10 of them. And here is inscription of one of such stones, little stones. And this is one important discovery that I would like to share with you. It concerns the another decree after Rosetta decree, or the Rosetta stone. It is Canopus decree. It is known in scientific circles that two pieces of this decree was discovered. The first one in 1861, and the second one in 1881. Modern scholars claims that these two stones contains identical inscriptions. We read demotic text on these two pieces and found that they are similar only in content, that they are actually inscribed during the period of two different rulers. One is She-Pharaoh, Epiphania. She claims in the text that she is a daughter of Ptolemy II, and actually a grandmother of Ptolemy V, Epiphan, and her personal name was Epiphania. So Ptolemy V, Epiphan, was the author of the inscription of the Rosetta Stone, or give the order being inscribed. And she was his grandmother, and his personal name of Ptolemy V, was given by his grandmother, Epiphania, daughter of Ptolemy II. This was the demotic text inscribed on the first discovered piece of Canopus decree, and on the other discovered piece of Canopus decree, the text was inscribed by the Ptolemy III. The contents of the decrees is very similar. It gives the order that each year must have 365 days in a year, and in every fourth year, 1 day should be added. So every fourth year should have 366 days. which is, let's say, 230 years before Julius Caesar proclaimed his coming with such characteristics. But the main discovery from our point of view is that we found that there exists another chief pharaoh before Ptolemy III, after the Ptolemy II. Here we give analysis of the last chapter and the end of the text, where the pharaoh gives the order that the decree should be written with 3 different scripts. One is the script of Moi, Nazeve, Gospodarka, Ige, Moi, Nazeve, Gospodarka. It is a script of the high priest or hieroglyphic script. It means the script of the master of our masters. The second script is the script of Moi Najeve Gospodarka. It means my life masters. It means rulers. It is the ancient Macedonian dynasty. And the third text should be inscribed in the script of Danaide. That was the name used by ancient Macedonians for nowadays known Greeks. Also, nowadays Greeks, they call it Danaide or Danaide. This is our comments or our discovery about different scripts and the languages. Here are, let's say, the previous part of the order, where Pharaoh gives the order that the stone should be placed in so-called asharei or temples. Bogo Zmia or Nauze, or God's snake of the Delta Nile, which was actually the Egyptian god of the power of Egypt. Then Bogo E Naasun, which was actually the god of Aswan, actually Egyptian god of the Upper Egypt, and God of ours, or our God. It means ancient Macedonian God, in 3 different regions of country. Voi, Naice, Najua, Arpota. It means on the main city, in the main city of Egypt. Up until now, according to archaeological evidence, no piece of Rosetta stone was found outside the region of today's Alexandria, which is complete accordance with our reading. The second region is Voi, Naice, your most respected. Na Sinai Oseive, all the temples in Sinai, which is today's Sinai, in that period the Sinai was ruled by Ptolemies. And the third region was the region of the god of Boko, Nampio, Yo, Katanani. A little bit not understandable for us, that it means the God who is the most respected of the Canaan, which on Hebrew language, this expression Canaan means promised land or holy land or today Israel. And this territory of today Israel was ruled by the Ptolemies that period. The period is just for a fact 196 year BC, before Christ. Now, we will only illustrate how they are used to communicate with the different nations. Нашве ги упазала Ананеца Бого и на Зевето, Любове Дове, Детон Ел и на Богоджо. The temple of the Ananetza Bogo of the Egyptians. The beloved ones of the children of the Great Mother, Supreme Goddess, and the god Jo, which was the god of the animals. This was in the Gnostic text, which means that the temple of Egyptian god Ananetza, they should pay a tax for the children of the Supreme Goddess and the god of animals. It means these children must be sacred animals. But they communicate in ancient Greek text. We have this text below, and to the bull Apis and to the bull Mavis, he had given many gifts, and to the other sacred animals in Egypt. Because for the ancient Greeks, the bull Apis and Mavis means something, but for ancient Macedonians, they are only some sacred animals. That's difference in communication. We was able to discover the principles of naming the nations. The rulers call themselves Desa Namudea, children of the Great Mother, Supreme Goddess, which was their name for Macedonians. After that, Jupiter, the citizens of Upper Egypt, and Sebons, the citizens of Lower Egypt, because it is the rest naming is very logical, because the God said this main God or supreme God of Lower Egypt, and the inhabitants was named by this God. Here are the gods of the Macedonian pantheon. It's a Ogo, it is Supreme Goddess. Their children, Supreme God, Ogote, the son, and first prophet. The one, his second name was the one who sees everything. Bogose, the god of sun. Bogose, that was the goddess of the sunlight. Bogose, Jo, god of the animals. Bobo, goddess of literacy. Bogosa, god of agriculture. Bogoka, god of the health. And Bogotá, is god of the war. We are pretty sure that God there was a supreme God because in Titan hymn they are using exactly the same title as a title for now. He was a pharaoh on the gods. Najpierw moi nazywamy Bogotoi. It was our most respected name, right? One who is called God comes. So I think in respect time, I would like to thank you for your attention and your willingness to share with us this Sunday afternoon. Thank you kindly again for your attention. Please, I'm open for your questions.
If there are any people who would like to come up and ask a question for Professor Tentov, please come on up.
Anyone who would like to ask a question, any questions, please come on up.
I'm hearing you very bad. Could you please write?
We haven't asked the question yet, Professor. So, is there anyone?
Ask him if he has developed a dictionary of all the words they found so far, and where is it available? They have it in the
Professor, can you hear me? The question is, have you developed a dictionary of all the words that you have translated, and where can people get a copy of this?
I understand you. We have vocabulary of all the world, and it is in the process of printing in Macedonian Academy of Sciences and Arts, and we are expecting that by, let's say, June or July, it will be published. So everyone could get it from Macedonian Academy for Science and Art, and we will be publishing this vocabulary or dictionary at our site with agreement with Macedonian Academy of Sciences and Art as well.
Anyone else? Questions? Yes.
What's been the response from the academics in London where this was actually held, like the Museum of London? What's been their response?
Professor, the question is, have you had any response from the academics in London and the museums there?
Excuse me, I didn't hear you very well. Could you repeat your question?
Yes, the question is, have you had any response from academics in London, British academics?
Yes, I have a response from the author of the latest English version of the translation, devoted text. He was very interested interested in the beginning. After that, he silent. I suppose he is sweating now.
Could you repeat the last part? We didn't hear the last part.
Actually, I have one connection. Actually, with the author of the latest translation of the demonic text on the Rosetta Stone. He was very interested at the beginning. Now he is more silent. I'm supposing that he is sweating something. I don't know. Because we are a few steps ahead of them.
Anyone else? Yes. I think to refine that question a little bit more is how.
Because we are able to read side by side. They are not able to do it now.
I think refining the question
To read now, by the moment.
how has his work been accepted? Well, the academic
The next question is, Professor, how has your work been accepted by the academic community?
Sorry, could you repeat? I'm not.
The question is, how has your work been accepted by the academic community?
Academic community from Slovenia, Serbia, Croatia, Poland, Czech Republic, Slovakia, Belarus, Russia, and Ukraine was amazing. And the other ones are very quiet. Up until now, I'm expecting by the end of the year that I will hear from them.
Okay. Anyone else? Yes.
Just to say to the professor that he should connect to the Macedonian
That's a comment. That's a comment.
You have to be careful.
He should get help from the Macedonian community for his inheritance.
It's an opinion. Do you have?
There's no professors from Macedonia to connect with you.
The question, Professor, is, do you have any connections with academics in Canada, or has anyone expressed any interest in your work from academics in Canada or the United States?
Academics? Through the Russian Academy of Sciences, we gave the example of our work to more than 100 departments of the classical studies around the world, and by their meaning, we expect answer from this institution by the third quarter of this year.
I guess the answer was with their upcoming translation of their vocabulary.
I have a question.
Čekaj neka završi.
Yeah. Question.
Why are the English linguists or the West so afraid of this discovery that is clean and very simple Macedonian? Why are they so afraid? And how is the reaction from our very fancy Greek neighbors?
That's an opinion again, and that's a political. I won't ask that question. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
What is the major contributor to the support of the research today? Where does the financing and the initiative, where does that come from?
The next question, Professor, is who are the major contributors or financiers of your work in Macedonia? Professor, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. The next question is who are the major contributors to your work, people who are contributing and financing your work in Macedonia?
At the beginning, it was Macedonian Academy of Sciences and Arts. Our project there will finish by the end of this year. So after that, I will let you know.
On welfare.
Anyone else? Yes.
He was saying that there was some competition or some rivalry with some other group trying to translate. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Okay, the next question, Professor, is that you alluded to the fact that there are other groups who are trying to decipher the middle text. Do you know which groups those are? Have you been in contact with them, or have they been in contact with you?
I don't understand. Could you repeat this?
The question is, are there any other academics who are involved in trying to decipher the middle text that you know of?
Other academics. I know that particularly on this field, the main institution in the world is Oriental Institute in Chicago, as well as Oriental Institute in University of Oxford. If this is what you're asking.
Yes, it is. Have they contacted you, or have you been in contact with any of those groups?
We have published all the materials at our website. I'm aware that they visit our site, spent British Museum almost 48 hours on that site, on his site, and Oriental Institute from Chicago 4 or 5 days. After that, they didn't answer. I'm expecting, as I say previously, to hear from them in the third quarter of this year.
I have a question.
And I mean, they must be given some period because we are ahead of them. We are 2 steps ahead. We realize some that they are not capable. And it's a sign they will get both by their own work up to the mind that they were capable to read hieroglyphic text, to translate them the motive script, and vice versa. But after the beginning of ruling of Ptolemaic dynasty, they was not able to read the motive script anymore in the previous way. So this was one fact that brings us to the assumption that besides posing some minor changes in script, they most probably change the language or which is very adequate for every ruler in the world, they start to implement their own market. And British doesn't learn Indian language. They start to use English language, and India actually still use this language. It is no, let's say, genius assumption from our side. It is a very simple one.
A few years ago, you got a visit from Alberto Salinas Press. He is the Mexican archaeologist linguist who actually is more or less the authority on the Homeric epics. Now, how did that meeting go? Was he excited about this?
We have a visit from Mr. Salinas, and he was very positive about our work. And I would like to point to one single point in our research, because it is not very, but similar with the methodology used by Russia to decipher language of Mayans. Language of Mayans. The Russians succeeded to decipher this language and script. And the algorithm or procedure was also an engineering one. They didn't use another language to discover Mayan.
Anyone else?
We're very honored. What will they come to see us?
We will in our closing. Thank you. Yeah.
So if there's going to be an understanding that they deciphered it and that there's a connection potentially with the ancient Macedonian, will the name demonic change, or will it be referred to continuously as demonic? Or how does that procedure go? Will there ever be a recognition?
I'm sorry. The question is, Professor, the term that is used for the middle text is, as you call it, the demonic text. With your discovery, will that name change?
Change in what sense?
In to Macedonian text instead of demonic text.
It is known in a scholarly world as a demotic text. I would like to point out again that our research was initiated because we cannot accept that ancient Macedonians, who was capable to build a biggest empire in the world, to be not bitter. But at the beginning of our research, we didn't assume similarity with any existing language. The similarity that was became evident at the end of the first phase of our project is only the result. It is not the assumption. And I personally have read about this Bible.